You're just jealous of your sister. She's the one who made something of herself. You'll never measure up to her. That's what Mom said to me, as if it were some kind of undeniable truth. I couldn't help but chuckle, not because it was funny, but because the whole thing was so absurd it felt like a joke. She sat there across from me, arms folded tight across her chest, wearing that look she always gets when she thinks I'm the unreasonable one. You're just jealous of your sister, she repeated, her voice thick with that syrupy kind of condescension she's mastered over the years. She's the successful one. You'll never be like her. I leaned back in my chair with a smirk, letting her words hang in the air for a beat before I responded. Good, I said, real casual-like, watching her face twitch in confusion. Then I guess she can start paying your bills. The silence that followed was pure gold. Almost better than a win in an argument. I caught the way my sister, Allison, stiffened on the couch like someone had slapped her with a cold towel. She didn't say a word, just kept tapping those perfectly polished nails against her phone screen like she wasn't paying attention. But I saw it. Her shoulders tensed up like she'd just been called out. Mom let out a loud, dramatic scoff. You think you're so clever, don't you? She snapped. Allison has real things going on. She's busy. Unlike you, she added, throwing the words like they were meant to stick. I just shrugged. I'd heard the same tune my whole life. This wasn't anything new. Allison had always been the golden child valedictorian, Ivy League grad, now rubbing elbows with the suits in some fancy corporate office. And me? I was the one who never quite made the cut. The one who didn't fit their picture of success. No matter what I did, didn't matter if I was paying my own way, building something real, or actually keeping things afloat, none of it ever counted. As far as my mom was concerned, I'd never be Allison. So I figured, fine. Let's give her what she thinks she wants. Well, I said, dragging the word out slow, like I just had an epiphany, since Allison's the big success story around here, maybe you ought to give her a ring. Ask her to take over. I mean, if I'm so useless, you sure don't need my help anymore. I saw something flicker across Mom's face. It wasn't much, but it was there, just a hint of hesitation. But she was too proud to backpedal. Fine, she snapped, grabbing her phone off the table like it owed her money. At least she cares about this family. Not like you. Allison finally looked up from her screen, clearly annoyed. Mom, what are you doing? I need help with the mortgage this month, sweetheart, my mom cooed, like she was buttering her up. Your brother's decided he's done helping. I sat back and watched it all unfold, like I was watching a rerun of a show I'd seen too many times before. Mom was convinced Allison would swoop in like some hero, and Allison, well, she was used to being above the mess. But I already knew where this was heading. And I couldn't wait to see it. Allison let out one of those long sighs, the kind that says she'd rather be anywhere else. She started to speak, then stopped herself. I caught her glance in my direction, just for a second, before she flashed that fake smile she uses when she wants to seem composed. I mean, I'd love to help, of course, she said, voice light and breezy. But you know how it is. She let out a nervous little laugh, brushing it all off. My expenses are insane right now. I just closed on the condo, and things at work have been intense. I really can't take on anything extra at the moment. That's when I saw it, my mom's expression shifting in real time. First, she looked shocked. Then like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. And finally, that desperation kicked in. The same look she usually reserves for guilting me into bailing her out. Allison, she said, her voice softening, almost trembling. Sweetheart, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious. The mortgage is due soon, and I... Mom, Allison cut in, voice flat now. I said no. Just like that, the illusion shattered. The golden child finally showed her true colors. I leaned forward, elbows resting on my knees, and gave Allison a curious look. Hold on a second. I thought you were the successful one. Then I turned to her, pretending to be genuinely puzzled. Shouldn't this be easy for you? Whatever happened to that big-shot corporate paycheck you were always bragging about? She glared at me, but I wasn't backing down. I kept my voice light, almost playful. Or, could it be, you're not nearly as well off as you've been pretending to be all this time? That hit a nerve. Her jaw tightened like she was trying not to snap. My mother, still floating somewhere between panic and denial, jumped in again. You must have some savings, sweetheart. You've always been the one good with money. Allison let out a sharp breath and finally cracked. Mom, you don't get it, she snapped, and this time the mask slipped. Real frustration bled through. Do you have any idea how much my life costs? The condo, the car payments, the credit card bills, it adds up. I don't have piles of money just lying around. And there it was. The cracks in her perfect little image started to show. I leaned back, grinning to myself. See, that's the thing about Allison, she's always been good at putting on a show. All those social media posts, the flashy outfits, the expensive brunches, she made it look like she had it all figured out. Untouchable. Unstoppable. But I'd known for a long time she was barely keeping it together. Drowning in debt just to keep up appearances. And now? She couldn't keep the act going any longer. My mom just sat there, stunned. But, you always said. I said what I needed to say, Allison cut in, voice like ice. She stood abruptly, snatching up her purse. I don't have time for this. I've got a meeting. She spun around and made for the door. But I wasn't quite finished. Just so I've got this straight, I called after her, raising my voice a notch. I'm the failure, right? Yet I'm still expected to foot the bill while the so-called successful one gets to walk off without a care in the world? She didn't even look back. Grow up, Nathan, she muttered before slamming the door behind her. Silence. I turned back to my mom, who looked like she'd just been hit with a brick. For the first time I could remember, she had nothing to say. Huh, I said, getting to my feet and stretching like I'd just wrapped up a casual conversation. Looks like you bet on the wrong horse, Mom. Her head jerked up, face flushed with anger. This isn't funny, Nathan. I just smiled, calm as could be. Because for the first time in years, I was holding the cards. She clutched her phone like she could will Allison to call back. But deep down, she knew the truth. We both did. She didn't mean it, my mom mumbled, almost like she was trying to convince herself. She's just overwhelmed. She'll help once she calms down. I tilted my head and gave a small shrug. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe she's been stringing you along the same way you've been stringing me. Her eyes snapped to mine, burning with fury. Don't you dare. What? Speak the truth? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Come on, Mom. You've always made it crystal clear I wasn't the favorite. I let the words hang there a second before I added, fine. I got over it. But you didn't just play favorites, you told me, over and over, that I wasn't good enough. I leaned in just a little. And now look who just left you in the dust. Her jaw worked, but she had no comeback. I could see the realization creeping in that for once, there was no one left to save her. I let that silence sink in for a beat. Then I smiled and said, well, good luck with that, before turning and walking toward the door. I didn't even get 3 steps before her voice rang out, sharp and desperate. Nathan, wait. I turned around slowly. She was already on her feet, panic written all over her face. You can't just walk away from this. I need your help. And there it was. The moment everything flipped. The same woman who spent my whole life telling me I wasn't enough was now pleading with me to stay. I thought Allison had it covered, I said, folding my arms across my chest. Her lips parted, then closed. She does. She just needs a little time. I raised an eyebrow. And while she's off figuring things out, what exactly are you gonna do? Nothing. No answer. Just her hands wringing together like they always did when she was trying to guilt me into something. You've always been the responsible one, Nathan, she said finally, voice soft and calculated. You wouldn't let me lose the house. I let out a low chuckle. You're right, I am responsible. That's why I made sure I was financially solid while you were too busy putting Allison on a pedestal to notice. Her eyes widened, just a bit. Wait, what do you mean financially solid? I tilted my head slightly, let the words sit. You have money, she whispered, almost like it hurt to say. I didn't respond. Just kept looking at her, letting the silence do the talking. And that's when the panic really started to creep in. Nathan, please, she said. You have to help me. Do I? I asked, pretending to consider it. Because last I checked, you told me I'd never measure up. That I'd never be as good as Allison. She flinched at that. Hard. Well, I said, shrugging. Guess you were wrong. She reached for my arm, but I stepped back before she could touch me. No, Nathan, listen, I didn't mean it. I was just upset. I shook my head. No, Mom. You meant every word. And now? Now you're just upset because you finally need me. I watched as her breathing turned shallow, her knuckles white as they gripped the edge of the table. That proud, icy exterior she'd always kept up, it was cracking. Nathan, please, she said, almost in a whisper now. You're my son. Family helps each other. I exhaled slow and steady, shaking my head. That's funny. I don't remember you saying that back when I needed support. She flinched like I'd slapped her. That was different, she insisted. You were difficult. You didn't listen. You were stubborn. I let out a quiet laugh and cut her off. Yeah. And now I'm the one with options. Go figure. You mean I never did what you wanted, Dot? Her mouth tightened into a line, her pride flaring. You don't understand. She tried a different angle, a softer one this time. This house, my life, it's all unraveling. I need your help. I tilted my head slightly. And where was that concern when I was drowning? Where was my life raft? She didn't answer. Couldn't. For the first time, I watched the power slip from her hands, and it shook her. I should go, I said at last, grabbing my jacket. No, wait, she lunged forward, clutching my arm. I'll make it up to you. I swear. Just, help me this one time. I slowly peeled her fingers from my arm nut. Mom, I said, voice calm, clear. You made your choice. A long time ago. Then I turned and walked out the door. I didn't turn around. Didn't hesitate. I made it to my car, sat down, and that's when my phone buzzed. I looked. Mom. I let it ring. A second call. Then a text. Mom, Nathan, please. Just talk to me. Mom, I didn't mean any of it. You're my son. I love you. I gave a bitter little laugh. Love? Now that she was backed into a corner, now she remembered how to love me? The messages kept coming, one after another, her desperation cranked up with each one. But I didn't bother opening them. I started the engine, my hands gripping the steering wheel tight as something unfamiliar settled over me. It wasn't guilt. That's what she was banking on, her old playbook, guilt, shame, obligation. But not this time. This time, I felt something else. Freedom. For once, I wasn't the invisible kid trying to earn a crumb of her attention. I wasn't the fallback plan, the spare tire. I was just me. And for the first time, that was enough. I pulled onto the road, and my phone rang again. But this time, it wasn't her. It was Allison. I smirked. Here we go. I let it ring a few times before I picked up. Nathan. Her voice was sharp, clipped, no fake cheer, no smug little edge. Just pure annoyance. What did you say to Mom? I smiled to myself. Nothing she didn't already know. Cut the crap, she snapped. She's panicking. Says you walked out and left her with nothing. What's going on? I feigned confusion. Wait, she called you? I thought you were broke, too. Silence. Then a tense inhale. That's not the point, Nathan. You know I can't take this on right now. Oh yeah, I said, voice flat. The condo, the car, the 5 credit cards in your name. Must be exhausting. Don't act like you're better than us, she snapped. You think you're some kind of saint now? Just because you walked away? I laughed. No, Allison. I just finally had enough. You can't just be done with family. Funny, I said, because you were done with me for years. She went quiet. Remember when you stood by while Mom tore me apart over and over again? While you got the praise, and I got the silence? That's not fair, she muttered. Fair? I scoffed. What's fair is that you finally know what it feels like when nobody shows up to rescue you. Her voice dropped, low and sharp. So that's it? This is just revenge? No, I said coolly. It's just reality catching up. She paused. She's going to lose the house, Nathan. Her tone was smaller now. I leaned back in my seat. Yeah. She is. You don't care? I considered it, then said plainly, no. I don't. I could hear her frustration, that jittery little habit of tapping her nails against her phone nut. You're really going to let this happen, she muttered. Yep. You're a click dot. I ended the call. Leaning back, I exhaled. Deep. Steady dot. For once, I wasn't the one they were leaning on dot. They were the one scrambling. And it felt good. Over the next few days, I let every call go to voicemail. Every text sat unread. First came the guilt trips, Mom, I raised you. How can you turn your back on me? Then came the bargaining, Mom, I'll change. We can fix this. Please, Nathan. And finally, the rage, Mom, you're selfish. Ungrateful. You'll regret this. But I didn't regret a thing. Allison, for her part, went quiet. Probably trying to figure out how to dodge the mess without lifting a finger. Then, 5 days later, the doorbell rang. I knew it was her before I even looked. Mom stood on my porch, looking like a ghost of herself. The perfect hair? Gone. The polished look? Faded. She looked tired. Unsteady. The shadows under her eyes told a story of sleepless nights. You weren't answering my calls, she said. I know, I replied, leaning against the doorframe, calm as ever. She hesitated. Caught between lashing out and falling apart. Her pride and her panic were wrestling in real time. Nathan, please. I don't know what to do. There it was. The moment she realized the game was over. Not my problem anymore, I said. You can't just leave me like this. Her voice cracked. I can. And I did. Her face twisted, desperate and angry. What do you want? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry, Nathan. Okay? I'm sorry for everything. I tilted my head. For everything? Her jaw clenched. You know what I mean. No. I don't. Because if you were really sorry, you wouldn't be saying it just because you need something. Her breath hitched. For a moment, I really thought she might break down and cry. Nathan, she murmured, I'm going to lose the house. I looked her dead in the eye. Then lose it. The words hit her like a slap. She recoiled, stunned. But where would I go? Her voice dropped to a whisper, fragile and scared. I shrugged. Maybe Allison can take you in. Oh wait, I paused with a bitter smirk, she won't. That was it. The final nail. She knew I wasn't bluffing. She had bet the farm on Allison, her golden girl, and now, with the walls caving in, she had no backup plan. Please, she whispered one last time. I took a breath, feeling the weight of years finally lift off my chest. Then I gave her the words I had waited half a lifetime to say, slow, steady, and with just enough steel in my voice. You made your choice, Mom. Now you get to live with it. Then I closed the door. Just like that. I half expected her to pound on it, maybe even scream or beg. But nothing. I peeked through the peephole. She just stood there for a few seconds, shoulders trembling, hands clenched like she didn't know what to do with them. Then, quietly, she turned and walked away. And I didn't feel bad. Not even a little. I'd spent my whole life trying to earn the love of a woman who made it clear I'd never be good enough. Always second place to Allison. Always the one stuck picking up the pieces while they played house like I didn't exist. But now? Now she was feeling the fallout from all of that. And it wasn't my job to fix it. I figured that was the end of it. But of course, it wasn't. Next morning, I woke up to a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost let it go to voicemail. Something told me to answer. Nathan. The voice was cold, too calm. Controlled in a way that only shows up when someone's on the verge of snapping. Allison, I said flatly. This is the last time I'm going to ask, she said, skipping right past the fake pleasantries. Help Mom. Pay off the bills. Do something before this spirals even further. I almost laughed. You still don't get it, do you? I said. There's nothing left to fix. It's already fallen apart. No, it hasn't, she snapped. She can still keep the house if we act now. I've got a contact at the bank, I can pull some strings. But she needs money. And since you're apparently rolling in it. Let me stop you right there, I said, cutting her off. She's not my problem anymore, Allison. She's yours. Dead silence. Then, her voice cracked for the first time. I can't take care of her, Nathan. And there it was. The confession. The golden child, the one who always had her act together, she was unraveling. Turns out the pedestal she'd been standing on was hollow. And now, when push came to shove, she had nothing left to give. Not my problem, I repeated, a little softer this time. You don't understand, she said, her voice climbing. If she loses the house, she's got nowhere else to go. Then maybe, I said, ice creeping into my tone, she should have been a better mother. She did her best. I couldn't help it, I actually laughed. Her best? I echoed. Her best was making me feel like I didn't matter. Her best was using me when it was convenient and throwing me aside the second you did anything remotely decent. Don't tell me that was her best. You don't get it. Allison's voice was rising now. You were never supposed to be the one who made it. It was supposed to be me. I was the one with the future, I was supposed to take care of her. But I can't. That truth sat in the air, heavy and raw. She wasn't the golden child anymore. She was broke, exhausted, and out of options. And now, she was seeing the cost of all the years she looked the other way. Sounds like a you problem, I said. And I hung up. 3 weeks passed. The house went into foreclosure. Mom tried everything, calling cousins she hadn't spoken to in years, leaning on old church friends, even reaching out to my childhood buddies, hoping they'd take pity. But nobody was buying the act anymore. No one wanted to bail her out. Not even Allison. Word got around that Mom ended up in a cramped apartment on the rough side of town. No more big house. No admiration. Just silence. And Allison? She was drowning. Her condo was on the brink of repossession, her debt piling up fast, and the image she'd spent years crafting was cracking right down the middle. Me? I was thriving. I wasn't just surviving, I was living. I finally had space to focus on myself. I invested my time in the life I'd built, not the one I had to fight for scraps in. I traveled. I met new people. I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in years. And the money? I spent it on things that mattered to me. Not on bailing out people who treated me like a burden. And the best part? I didn't feel like I owed anyone a damn thing anymore. No more comparisons. No more competition. No more begging for someone's approval like a dog hoping for scraps under the table. I was done. And as I sat back in my new apartment, sipping a drink, enjoying the peace and quiet, it hit me, I didn't lose a family. I escaped one. And in every way that counted, I had finally won.